That's part of this dynamic that you're seeing, and they're looking anywhere for answers.
My concern is that the party that was giving all three, the White House, the House, and the Senate in November of 24 has not actually risen to the occasion to fully solve some of the people's problems, and they're looking for answers elsewhere. It concerns me, Laura. We're 96 days away from a very important midterm, and there's some brutal polls coming out, not only about the Iran war, but Trump standing among independents. Some of these Senate races that you thought would never be in question, like Iowa and Nebraska, are in the balance. Like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Ohio, in the next 96 days. And I think there are a lot of people in D.C. and the Republican Party whistling past the graveyard. And they're going to have to face the voters in a very short amount of time. And I'm concerned that they have not provided the answers which they were given the power to do. And the American people might look elsewhere.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So that was Fox News, and they're in a panic right now when it comes to the November midterm election. They are concerned because they think that Republicans can potentially lose the House and the Senate. And they're most likely right. When it comes to the House, they're likely to lose the House. When it comes to the Senate, it's going to be hard for Democrats to take back control of the Senate, but they do have a pathway to take back control of the Senate. And the main reason that they have this pathway is because Republicans have failed to do anything in the last 2 years. Fox News is now aware of the fact that they had control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, and nothing really got done. Remember the promises this current administration made. They made a promise that they were going to bring down grocery prices. They made a promise that we're not going to be in any more foreign wars. They made a promise that gas prices were going to go down. They didn't keep any of those promises. And now that people are continuing to struggle, they are blaming the Republicans because the Republicans are in power. And so if you put yourself in a situation where you want leadership, if you want to control the House, you want to control the Senate, you want to control the White House, you have to do something. And the big, beautiful bill is just not enough, because the big, beautiful bill is not focused on the average voter. It's focused on the wealthy. And so the wealthy are getting what they want, but the average voter isn't. And that is why we're seeing Democrats outperforming in special elections, as well as in the primaries. You're seeing the energy behind Democrats. And let me show you another segment where Laura Ingraham is talking about Biden. Believe it or not, 2 years into this administration, and they're still talking about Biden.
Understanding and acknowledging that people are still struggling, Nick. And a lot of young people are worried. They're worried. They feel like they can't get ahead. Of course, most of that inflation run-up happened during Biden. Most of the price hikes happened under Biden. Didn't go away. But these answers on the economy have to be front and center. When they do it, it actually breaks through pretty well. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that on the campaign trail.
Now, of course, going back to Biden, that's not going to help anything, because people know there's been 2 years since Biden was in office. And so you have to make some change. You have to do something. You can't just sit in office and say, well, you know what? Biden raised, the prices went up during Biden, and so we're just going to sit on our hands and not do anything. That is not the promise that was made. And so the average voter will look at this and say, well, look, prices haven't come back down. And Laura Ingraham, she even admitted it, where she said, things haven't really changed. Yes, they haven't changed. And that's why the current administration was voted into office, to make change. And when we look at the president's job approval when it comes to inflation, it's at minus 37.2%. It is the lowest approval among all the different categories that we're looking at right now. And when we look at his disapproval's at 67.7%. His approval's at 30.5%. And then even if you look at some of the latest polls, you see Reuters Ipsos. This was conducted between 7:29 and 8:03. You have 3,542 registered voters. You have approval at 25%, disapproval at 71%. The spread there is minus 46 points. And then right under that, the Economist YouGov. This was conducted between 7:31 and 8:03. So these are recent polls. This is 1,473 registered voters. His approval's at 29%. His disapproval's at 67%. The spread there is minus 38 points. And so it's clear the most important issue to voters right now is inflation. Inflation has not come down. The fact that it hasn't come down, the current administration is going to be held responsible for this, because this midterm election is going to be a referendum on the president. And if the president can't do anything to bring down prices, then you're going to see Republicans down ballot. They're going to lose races. And Republicans actually had an opportunity. They had an opportunity to move a reconciliation bill through Congress that helped the average voter. But they're not focused on the average voter. They're focused on more money to fight in this war in Iran. They're not focused on helping the average American. And understand, through reconciliation, you only need a simple majority in the House, simple majority in the Senate. That's how they passed the big, beautiful bill last year. But this year, the voters are getting nothing. They could have easily moved something to help the average American, like the child tax credit. They could have expanded that. They could have made that tax credit refundable and advanced it to you early, just like we saw during the Biden administration and just like we saw with stimulus checks when they were going out. But they decided not to move forward with something like that. And now the American people, when they go to vote, they're going to be thinking the economy's not doing well and the current administration is not doing anything to change that. So I want to make a quick pitch here. If you guys are liking the content on my channel, make sure you go over and join my Substack. It's free. And on my Substack, you're going to get articles that are based on some of the videos that I posted, as well as every video that I post on YouTube, I also post it on Substack, and Substack will send you an email notification so you'll never miss any of my videos. Link is in the description. And so that is why we're seeing these shifts, and mainly in the Senate. And if you look at the Senate map a year ago doesn't look like what we're seeing today. Because you have, right now, I think you have 9 states that are in place. So the green here, these are the 9 states that are in play. A year ago, we weren't talking about Texas being in play. A year ago, we weren't talking about Alaska being in play. Other states, even North Carolina, we weren't talking about that. We weren't talking about Ohio. We weren't talking about Iowa. Some of these states we weren't even talking about being in play. But now they're in play, and now some of them, you look at some of the models that are out there, they're considering Texas right now as a toss-up. They're considering Alaska as a toss-up. They're considering Ohio as a toss-up. Even Iowa, they're considering as a toss-up. And when it comes to North Carolina and a lot of the models, it's leaning for Democrats. And when it comes to Georgia as well, Democrats need to defend Georgia. It looks like, according to the model, according to the latest polling, it looks like Democrats are going to be able to win in Georgia. It looks like Democrats are also going to be able to win in New Hampshire. And so they'll be able to defend New Hampshire. When it comes to Michigan, Democrats need to win in Michigan. They need to defend Michigan. Right now, a lot of the models are considering that a toss-up. When it comes to Maine, that's another state that the models are considering a toss-up. And so a year ago, we would not be looking at a map that we're looking at today. But the reason that we're looking at this map and we're showing that Democrats have a pathway to take back control of the Senate is because the current policies aren't working. And because these current policies aren't working, Republicans are going to have a rough road in November. And one other thing I want to mention, it's easy when you're running against someone. If someone is already, someone already has power, let's just go back to 2024. It was easy for President Trump to run against Biden or Harris. And why was it easy? Because it's easy to just say, look, this isn't right. This isn't right. I'm going to change that. The prices are too high. I'm going to bring those prices back down. I'm going to do this. We're not going to be in any wars in any other. It's easy to say what you're going to do, but it's actually hard to do it. And that's what we're learning here. That's what we're seeing here. But instead of Republicans saying, okay, we need to make change, what they're saying is, no, it's not us. Biden did it. It's Biden's fault. And we're just here for the ride now. We have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, but we're still trying to work things out. It's going to take some time for us to make those changes. The voters don't want to wait. And they're saying that every day. When we see these new polls come out, when we see these special elections, when we see these primaries, you see the energy behind Democrats, and that is going to be a disaster for Republicans in the midterm election. I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.